It's an adventure, it's an occurrence with no deterrence. Patience is key, even though it feels urgent. Do you have the strength to sit with each moment? Identify your place in the scheme and then own it. Zoom out and see the overall picture. Take the thoughts with ya. Use pen to draft scripture. In the folds of time, the annals remind of the missteps that crumble kingdoms, and we'll find amidst the ruins, strands of grass now growing, displaying that the birth of an era had been looming. The new information breeds some new energy, a positive vibe that is available plentifully. What will you do with it? Be a true cynic, or will your legacy show that you grew with it? Take the path that leads to more light, don't miss out. This is your chance to shine bright.
Comes as fire in the dark, as a beat heart beating on the mark, like a lantern looking for a shade. Shadow shift and watch it fall away. It comes as spark into your mind, with a beat heart keeping you in tight, as an ache and fury for the pain, and a will to never be the same.
Yo, where can we take you at this turn? On the surface of the sun, we may not get burned. So celestial, extraterrestrial, music made with love resurrecting you. Up from the sludge, up from the brine, free from the shackles, free from the bind. Sight for the blind with some 8D glasses, extra dimensions, best of intentions. That's not to mention heights of ascension to those who would throw the wrench in. Gut wrenching to think that we don't all wanna fly. If you're staying in the former states of mind, goodbye. I see new horizons, yes, the sun's rising, so awe-inspiring. Watch us just dive in, thriving as we bask in the light. Don't miss out, this is your chance to shine bright.
Wings see the breath of the life that lives. Some child see the haze of the maze that keeps him. Daughter see the moon and the tide she came from. Dare to the duty, opportunity given. Eyes will witness, a choice is tasteless. Consume and waste till we've all gone nameless. Heart very evil in the din to bear this. Pillaging our fill till we've all gone homeless. Without this home we would not be. Without this home we could not live. Without this home we will not live. We got too much to give it all up. So we see the breath of the life that lives them. Child see the haze of the maze that keeps them. Daughter see the moon and the tide she came from. Dare to the duty, opportunity given. Comes as fire in the dark, as a beat heart beating on the mark, as a lantern looking for a shade. Shadow shift and watch it fall away. It comes as spark into your mind, with a beat heart keeping you in tight, as an ache and fury for the pain, and a will to never be the same.
I see new horizons, yes, the sun's rising. So awe-inspiring, watch us just dive in. Thriving as we bask in the light. Don't miss out, this is your chance to shine bright. I see new horizons, yes, the sun's rising. So awe-inspiring, watch us just dive in.
You do got to appreciate Alan Worthy's absolute killer dance moves. Alan's just breaking it down for everybody. Okay, so I have allowed people to unmute their mics. I'm going to unmute Jordan for you. And Tabby, I think you want to take it away?
Yeah, thank you all for being here today. We appreciate it. And Jordan, thank you for taking time to talk to our agents today.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks, guys.
As many of you may have read in Jordan's profile, she has been instrumental in building the Davis team. I know, Jordan, you mentioned that you've had 48 million in volume and over 187 units in GCI just last year. So you know how this business works. You started, I think you told me, as coming from a teaching background. Is that correct? You wanted to be
I was a stay-at-home mom for a little while and a purchasing procurement background.
Yeah. And so you also have been using Keller Mortgage and have closed 40 sales consistently over the last few years. So we know you have a lot of experience to share with us. and a lot of great tips on how Keller Mortgage can help all these agents right now. So I'll let you take it away since you know what you're talking about.
Awesome. Hey guys, I'm Jordan Davis, and I have the opportunity every day to wake up and lead the Davis team. As Tabby said, last year we sold 187 homes for $48 million in total volume, and that was $1.2 million in GCI. So we hit that elusive MREA, which was a big goal for us. I'm 6 years in the business. I'm not from Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm actually from Oklahoma City. So I transplanted to Dallas-Fort Worth. Tried to be a stay-at-home mom for a year. That was an epic failure. And thought I'd get into real estate just to offset the cost of childcare. Thought if I could close, 5 or 6 homes a year, that would be really great. Fast forward 6 years and we're closing 187. So I think it's important to know that I am an agent. I'm an agent in Dallas-Fort Worth. I don't work for Keller Mortgage. I don't get paid by Keller Mortgage. I'm just an agent who has said, hey, I'm using this in my business and knocking it out of the park and getting great results. And I want to share that with you of how we're lead generating, how we're closing with this, and then also how we're protecting our GCI when we do get objections for it. So with that said, I'm going to screen share and head into the presentation that I normally give live, and obviously with some modifications since we're on Zoom. So let's head into that. All right, start screen share. There we go.
Jordan, I assume the guys can put their questions in the chat on the side, and we can facilitate those for you throughout the presentation. Okay, great.
And Tabby, sometimes I have the moderator kind of help me with those if something comes up, so everybody can stay muted.
Yeah.
So this is our presentation on converting more leads and increasing your GCI using Keller Mortgage. This is our team. We do have 2 vice presidents, VP of operations and VP of inside sales. We call our ISAs inside sales agents because they're inside of our company. We call our producing agents outside sales. So that's how we refer inside sales versus outside sales. I know that's a little bit different than a lot of people prospect with. But we have 4 buyer's agents and 2 listing agents, myself included. So it was the 6 of us that closed the 187 units. We're projected to do 60 million in volume for 220 units in 2020. Every year we consistently close 40 clients with Keller Mortgage, and it's been a big piece of how we are growing our business year over year. And so that's why I really want to show with you guys how Keller Mortgage is woven into the fabric of who we are as a company and a solution that we consistently come up with. So let's walk through it. What is Keller Mortgage? And I apologize if this is elementary for you guys, this part, but it's great to know if somebody just isn't very familiar with the product in and of itself. So Keller Mortgage is a lender that's been in business for 15 plus years. When Gary Keller was on a sabbatical to write the Millionaire Real Estate Agent 2, he went and interviewed agents that were just crushing it all over. And he came across an agent who basically was killing it with buyers because his wife owned a lender and was able to give away the loan with no fees attached. And he was like, that's amazing. Can we take that company wide? And so what they did is they brought them in and they started this company that came to be known as Keller Mortgage. The savings that they're offering is no origination fee, no processing fee, and no underwriting fee. Plus, they're giving $1,000 credit for loans over $150,000. I taught this class in California, and I had a lady raise her hand and ask me if they sold cars, if they financed cars, because she couldn't imagine what could be under $150,000. So I was like, oh, come to Texas. I can sell you some mobile homes on land. Or some double wides. They do have competitive rates. My husband and I, actually the home that I'm sitting in today, we accidentally bought this house. And if you've been in real estate long, you know, when you see a home that's been on the market for 2 years and you come in at low, like 80% of market value and they accept, you're like, oh, okay, we're moving, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the current house that we're in. So we bought this house and we purchased 2 investment properties last year and refinanced a couple of years ago on our old house. And all 4 times we compared Keller Mortgage against two other lenders, and every single time they won out in rate and in closing costs. So I'm here to testify that they're not, I've had other lenders accuse, oh, well, they're just increasing the rate in order to reduce those costs. That's absolutely not the case. They are able to offer this product without increasing the rate. And the way they're doing this is that they're just going straight to the consumer through us as realtors. So basically, they're not having to go pay the marketing costs. Like, for example, we as realtors know that it takes 25% to procure a client. That's why we pay a 25% referral fee. We know that's our average spend to procure a client. And so by going straight to the consumer through the realtor, they're able to waive those procuring costs. So they're never going to take you out to lunch. They're not going to take you out to the ball game, but they are willing to keep the savings in the client's pocket, and therefore you can convert more business by utilizing them. They do loans as low as $60,000 and up to $3 million. 600 was their minimum credit score. However, I believe right now it's 620 with all of the regulations going on with COVID and just the chaos and lending boom that we're in. And so 620 is the minimum credit score right now. You'll definitely want to check with a loan officer and verify that as you go through the process. It is available to Keller Williams buyers and buyers that are represented, unrepresented. They have, RE/MAX, whoever, of our listings. So just by you, the Keller Williams agent, being a person on the transaction, they can get this great offer. So how much is the actual savings? If you're like me, you had no idea what origination fee costs. I thought, what could it be, $1,000? And then we had a $400,000 home, and I was like, $4,000 for what? What is an origination fee, right? So that is 1% of the loan amount. So I have an example below that if you're making a purchase at $300,000, and let's say, for example, you're putting 10% down. And they do the 3%, 5% down, all that. They do that. But let's say, for example, you're going to put 10% down. That's on average what people put down. You're going to be financing $270,000. And so that looks like $2,700 as an origination fee. Then you've got your processing and underwriting fees, and those are $1,500 on average across the nation. Plus this, because they're borrowing $270,000, they meet the threshold of the $150,000 borrowing, and therefore they get the $1,000 credit. So the $2,700 plus the $1,500 and $1,000 takes them to the total of $5,200. If you screenshot nothing else from today, I highly recommend screenshotting this today. Yeah. It is available in your app. However, sometimes Keller Mortgage likes to play a joke on me and take it down. And then my Facebook Messenger blows up in one weekend, and I have like 40 people saying, how do I calculate that savings? So it would be a great idea to take a picture of this so that you'll always have it. I can see
great idea.
Steve has already given me thumbs up, did it? So our goal for today is I really want to transition from thinking of Keller Mortgage as a lender that's here to compete with your, local lenders. That's not the case. I want you to think of them as a tool in your tool belt. So who here has a lender, and I'm going to change it over to where I can see all of you, who has a lender that they know, love, and trust, and maybe feel even a little icky hearing or talking about Keller Mortgage? Yeah, us too.
We heard that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, if you follow us on social media, what you'll find is that we actually have lenders who will promote things for us or pay for, like we do something called a reverse bold 100. And we have lenders who will sponsor those. And so we still have great relationships with our lenders. We give them a ton of business. In fact, because our business continues to grow, they actually have not seen a drop in the amount of business that they're doing. We almost see Keller Mortgage as bait for fishing, right? Like I can put this out there, and whether they work for that or not, they'll still take the bait. Sometimes it's a great fit for the box that Keller Mortgage prefers. Sometimes it's not. And so we'll talk about that a little bit when we talk about other lenders. So we're going to talk about how we can market the product to drive more leads, scripts to convert those leads, scripts for overcoming objections, commission objections, specifically when you're on a listing appointment, which I love. And then how we can get into action today. When I first learned about Keller Mortgage, I was sitting with, I don't know if you guys know Smokey Garrett. He is OPRD. What?
Pays everything, right?
Yes. So I was sitting in a top 100 meeting with him, and he presented Keller Mortgage to us. And I had just come from driving and the other agent on a $500,000 transaction, which our average price point at the time was like $200,000. So this is like 2.5 deals for me. Basically said, hey, unless the seller can come up with an extra $10,000, we can't close, because turns out it's a man and a woman. They're getting married and combining families. And she actually has a home that they probably need to sell in order to close. And so I was like, we're 2 weeks from closing. Are you kidding me? And so I said, you know what, I'll think of something, but I've got to get into this mastermind. So I go into this mastermind with Smokey, and he presents Keller Mortgage. And I literally stood up, walked out of the room, got in my car, and left. And I called the other agent and I said, hey, listen, I just heard about a lender that waives all fees. And I think this could be the Hail Mary that we need. Are you willing to give it a try? And she said, yeah, let's give it a try. So they ended up saving on a $500,000 home. They saved $8,500 plus, or it was a $600,000 home. They saved $8,500. So we were $1,500 short, but they also gave him a better rate. And they're like, man, we can make this work. This is great. So they were thrilled to death. The funny thing was when they originally agreed and said, yeah, we'll give it a try, they're like, how do we get a hold of them? And I was like, I didn't stay that long. Let me make a phone call. So I had to call Smokey and be like, hey.
All right. So we have
There she goes.
We began the Keller Mortgage journey. What was that, Tabby?
You froze up.
Oh, sorry. So that's basically how we began the Keller Mortgage journey. Let me make sure I'm on the right Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and the thing I love when Jordan started off, did anybody catch that? She said she does about 40 transactions with Keller Mortgage, and a year, and yet that's not her total count. So I love that she started with that we all have our other lenders, and this isn't to replace them, it's just another tool in the toolbox. So
yeah, you're exactly right. Exactly. So okay, let's see, let me get back in a screen share and get back where we were. I live out in the country now, and they're like, everybody's working from home, and I'm like, my internet isn't great. So we have hotspots to hopefully help with the internet.
yeah.
So let's head into how are we marketing the savings to bring in more leads. So one of the ways that we're doing that is door knocking. Obviously, that could be a challenge with today, with everybody being in shelter in place. However, you can circle prospect with this same concept. Call around the neighborhood, announce you're just listed, talk about the savings available through Keller Mortgage. When we would door knock, which we should be able to do again in the next 3 months, we would specifically target renters. Because a lot of times people are renting either because they're transient, they are moving with their work in 2 years, which great. I mean, you should buy a home because we can show you, especially probably you guys too in Nashville, homes continue to appreciate 3 to 5% year over year. Rental rates are high enough to cover your mortgage. It's a great wealth building tool. And so what an opportunity to have a conversation with them. Or they've had a foreclosure on their record. That may not be a good match for Keller Mortgage because they don't have the capabilities with the amount of business they have coming in to stay up and stay on a client that's more than 3 months out. So you may want to give that opportunity to another lender, a lender that's local, to talk to them about how long they have and what they need to do to get their credit repaired to get to a point of buying. Or if they're like my mom, basically being a single mom, by the time she was done paying for tennis shoes that we seem to outgrow every 2 months and, rent, utilities, all of that, by the time she saved the amount she needed for a down payment, she just didn't have closing costs for, lender fees. And so typically what we see is buyers like that will ask the seller to pay for them. However, quite frankly, in this market that we're in, we're still a heavy sellers market, average 39 days on market. Sellers aren't paying for your closing costs, right? And so what happens is that these buyers end up having to go to homes that aren't as nice and aren't selling quickly because they're just desperate to get somebody to pay their closing costs. Or they're doing down payment assistance and they're accepting a higher interest rate or something like that with a program. And Keller Mortgage is a great solution for them to help them get into a home without those unnecessary lender fees. We also have these sign writers. In fact, we saw an increase in sign calls by 20% when we started advertising special financing available. Oftentimes people think it's a owner financing, which is fine. I don't care what they think. I just want them to call me because I want to find out, why are you looking for owner financing? It may be a situation that we can help with, whether it's Keller Mortgage or it's a situation with our other lender. They need creative financing and we can help them. Either way, it gets the phone to ring, and that's all I want. We market the savings to bring in more leads through open houses. We got permission from our board of realtors to put special financing available in our open houses. And so, or in our public description. So when somebody reads our public description, it says, ask about special financing on this 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home in Walnut Hills, yada, yada, yada. It is really embedded into everything. So then Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, they all pick it up. And what we're finding, or what we found, is at first we would get a lot of phone calls from agents, and they would say, what is special financing? Well, what was happening is on Zillow, they would read that and they would say, yeah, I want to talk to the agent. I want to talk to an agent. And they thought it was the listing agent. So the agents would call us and ask, but quite frankly, the buyers got frustrated because they wanted to talk to us as the listing agent. So what they started doing is, we always pair an open house with a new listing. They started just showing up at their open house being like, what is this special financing that I see, right? So we were able to circumvent those leads being sold to other agents, and they just came directly to our open houses. So we have a rule: anytime we have a price reduction or a new listing, it is partnered with an open house. We don't go live until we have that set up, because we want to capture those leads. And when we started advertising the special financing, we saw 15% more traffic. Now, we got approval from our board of realtors to put special financing available there. Our board of realtors required that in private documents, we have this flyer that I just put up on the screen, because it says work with a Keller Williams agent, save thousands of dollars. So on either side of the transaction, there's some language around it, but this is what we were required to put in the private documents in order to do that. And that satisfied our board of realtors. So maybe somebody within your company wants to go to your board of realtors and see if you can also do that. We also got these savings boards. I don't know how, like, these are basically the sign posted, and it says save blank on this home, calls today to start saving thousands. This we put in the garden right outside the front of the home. So as they're walking up to the home, they're seeing this sign, save $5,200 on this home, right? And then we took that and we made it smaller in an 8.5 by 11, printed it and put it in a picture frame. And we, these signs that are big outside, they are laminated. And so we can write on them with a whiteboard marker. And we can also write on we put the picture, the 8.5 by 11 in a picture frame. And then because it's in a glass, we can write on that with the same whiteboard marker and erase it. So we put 2 of those, one in the master bath and one in the kitchen. There's counter space and people spend the most time there. So basically what happens is, by the time they finish the open house, they're making a line to our agents to ask our agents, what is this savings about? What is the $5,000 about? Well, have you heard of Keller Mortgage? No. Okay. It's no origination, no underwriting, no processing fee, plus the $1,000 credit closing. As it would be about $5,200. What would an extra $5,000 in cash that you don't have to pay at closing do for you and your family? So we make that very personal. What would $5,000 do for you and your family? And Tabby, I'll send you all these scripts so that you have them.
Great.
And you can distribute.
Great.
And then we have just listed postcards, social media ads, anywhere that we can talk about the savings or the special financing, we post it along with everything that we do, because we want people to inquire and want to know more about this or want to know about the savings. I don't want them to go to, their friend or coworker who sits beside them who's also a realtor. I want them to come to me and get in on the savings. I mean, great, if they want to buy our listing, that's fantastic. But I want them to understand there's a value proposition in working with our team, because we can save them $5,000. And that's a huge value proposition that often offsets our commission. So social media, we do take a picture of the family in front of the home, and we have another huge whiteboard sign that says we just saved blank And then what we do is actually we have the family take a picture with this. We take a picture of the family in front of the home they bought by themselves so they can post it to their social media. Then we also take a picture with them holding the sign, and we will go in and type in and add a text box on that picture and type in the savings once we get it later. And so that way we are able to post this on social media and stop the scroll, because people see, oh, there's a family in front of a home. If they're thinking about buying a home at all, it stops them in their tracks and gets them to look at this. And they see it, and then they see $5,200 written in there, and they want to know, where did that savings come from? So that's how we get them to read the ad content about call us today, we can save you money, yada, yada, yada. But people don't believe savings anymore. We're kind of deluded to the idea of savings. It's like when I come home from shopping and I tell my husband, you'll never believe how much money I saved today. And he's like, well, how much would you have saved had you not gone shopping, you know?
Yeah.
All the men are like laughing and nodding. Yeah. So this idea of saving, hang on. So I have to spend $50,000 to save 5,000. Like, you know, it's just a kind of a diluted concept. So we want to show them the actual money that they're saving. And also when they hear it peer-to-peer, especially if we can get a client testimonial with it, that is such a better testimony than if I'm telling a client I can save you money. It's just like, I can promise you, Nashville, your leadership has said, use Keller Mortgage. And you're like, yeah. But an agent shows up and says, hey guys, I'm crushing it using it this way. And you're like, oh, well, I'm going to do it now because that girl said, you know, and all the team leaders are like, every time you talk, somebody comes in and I hear your name constantly. Well, Jordan said, I get it. It's that peer-to-peer, and it's more believable when it comes from your peer. Well, how do we translate that to our clients? If our clients believe past clients, we need to get their testimonials. We need to get the homes that they purchased, pictures of them in front of that home, because that's far more believable than Alan, you saying, hey, I can save you money, or hey, I'm the best agent to work with, when your past client says, you've got to work with Alan. He was fantastic.
And so, Jordan, we had one person wanting to clarify this slide. You take a photo of the client and you put it with this messaging at closing, correct?
I put it on social media. So I take a picture of, we just closed the Smith family. We would take a picture of them in front of their home, and we do one for them. So they want to make their little Facebook announcement that they closed on a home. But then we also ask them to hold this sign, and we take a picture. And so after closing, we will run this and sponsor it, pay to sponsor it on Facebook and Instagram as an ad that goes out and talks about, and we do it blank. We just take the sign around blank so we don't have to fill it out, and that it's hideous with the dry erase. It always makes it really ugly. And so we just type the text in the amount that they saved.
Right. So they're just holding this. It's not that you you changed the picture.
Yeah. They're holding this sign, and we type in the amount after.
Great. Barbara, did that help? Okay, good.
Okay, cool. We also have bridal and craft expos. This is a great way to generate a lot of leads. It's insane. These brides will come and put their real information. We used it. We gave out waters. We put it, printed it on our koozies, the amount of savings that you could get. I put $2,500 at the time that we did this one. We've actually done a few since, but at the time we did this one, I was still not 100% sure about putting $5,000 in print. And then somebody coming to me and saying, well, I'm a cash buyer. What are you going to do for me? So we put $2,500 to try it and play it safe. Because at first, 3 years ago when we started using Keller Mortgage, it was still kind of shaky. Agents were really kind of intense about me having a conversation about it. Things have really lightened up now, and they know it's a tool that we have. But we did a bunch of giveaways at a bridal show. We gave away a free bouquet toss. We got vendors affiliated with it and we did all these registrations. We said, hey, would you give away a free bouquet toss if somebody spent $1,000 in flowers with you? $50 off alterations, whatever. And so we had reasons for them to leave their information or give their information. But what's great about bridal shows is that it's not just brides come to bridal shows. They have, I don't know if y'all have been in a while. When I went, it was my mom and my dad, and maybe I made my husband go, right? No, it is like a bride tribe is what they're called. And they have matching shirts and like names on the back. I mean, it's a whole to do. And so, but what's great is a lot of times you have moms that are now empty nesters, grandma's there. You've got the sister-in-law that's always pregnant and massive, you know, in that bridal dress. But she's pregnant, and 64% of people who have babies will buy or sell a home within a year, right? And so you've got so many other people, and they can register their information for a chance for the bride to win. So we ended up leaving, I think it was 4 hours of work with 150 registrations. And we had 12 nurtures said that, yes, they were needing to buy or sell a home in the next 90 days. And we set 5 appointments on the spot.
Wow.
So I think it was maybe $1,000 to host the event, left with 150 people's contact information, 12 nurtures, 5 appointments.
Wow.
But you can see how we just weave the savings into the fabric of who we are and how we lead generate.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the script. Also, it's important to note that the appraisal is ordered day one, and if you don't close, you don't pay for that appraisal. That is awesome, because, like, for example, even on a listing, this can help you. I had clients, the Zimmers, and they listed their home at 300. We sat on the market a little bit. We ended up accepting an offer at 290. It appraised for 270, and I had originally, they had called and asked me, what is this special financing? And I said, it's no origination, no underwriting, no processing fee, plus $1,000 credit at closing. You know, that would be $5,000. And she was like, no, thanks. My clients hate money. And so they just, not really, they just went and used their other lender. I don't know what she said, but then when we came back with a low appraisal, it was a conventional. And I said, well, you know, do you remember when I told you about the special financing, no origination, no underwriting, no processing, plus $1,000 credit at closing, and you guys weren't interested? We can go through them again and get them pre-approved really quickly. Keller Mortgage will order the appraisal day one. So we'll probably have it back in the next 10 days. And if we still don't appraise, they don't have to pay for that appraisal. Keller Mortgage will eat that fee. So what happened is the appraisal came in at 280, and they called and said, hey, you were right. It saved our clients $5,000, and they want to split that with you. So we ended up at a new contract price of 282.5. Buyer was thrilled. Seller was happy. I mean, ultimately their home at best was worth 280, right? And both agents, neither agent had to give up commission in this. I feel like it was like, you know, those makeup commercials where they say like no animals were harmed in the making of this video or whatever. Like no agents had to give up commission, or no agents were harmed in the making of this transaction. But that's just a specific example of how it came up as a solution. And we were able to order that appraisal again, and they did it day one, and they only charged when they closed. So there was really no risk in doing that. Land more listings and protect your commission. So commission reduction, objection handlers. Basically, I know we've all had it. If you're sitting at the table with a seller who says, you know, hey, Tabby, would you reduce your commission on the home that we're selling with you to 2% because we're going to be buying and selling with you? And typically, you know, most people, and they're like, hey, we interviewed another agent that did. Well, what are you going to do? Say no? Because at the end of the day, they may go, you know, they may just go to that other agent. So we're kind of stuck. But Keller Mortgage gives us a value proposition that if we practice the script and we master it and we're using it, that we can really successfully talk to this. Mm-hmm. So, and I don't think you'll be able to hear, but I had the opportunity to be on stage and present this to Gary Keller last year at Family Reunion. And y'all can tell me, give me a thumbs up if it plays. Yes or no?
So one of my favorite scripts is on listing presentations when somebody asks you to reduce your commission because they're selling.
Okay, so I'll just walk through it, but basically walk through this with me. So Tabby, I understand you're asking me to reduce my commission because you're selling and buying with me. Tabby, can you tell me what's important about that to you? Because it would save you about $2,000 on this $200,000 sale.
Oh, am I supposed to answer?
Yeah. What's important about me reducing my commission on listing your home?
Yeah, that's why. Okay. So I can save some money.
Okay. All right, Tabby. So many sellers that choose me are just like you. They need to save money to put down on that next home, right? Okay.
Right.
Well, if Tabby, I can show you a way that I can actually save you more money than reducing my commission and still take home what I need to my family. Would it make sense to go ahead and sign the paperwork tonight?
It would to me, Jordan.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Tabby, here's the thing. You're buying a $300,000 home, and with Keller Mortgage, there's no origination, no underwriting, no processing fee, plus they're giving $1,000 credit at closing. On average, that would save you $5,200 on cash that you don't need to bring to closing. So already $5,200 is more than or less than $2,000 that the other agents offered.
Yes, I can even do that math. More than.
Awesome. And here's the thing, Tabby, if you go ahead and sign the paperwork tonight, I can make this available on your listings. So what's going on is that buyers right now in the market sometimes are asking for help with closing costs. They need closing costs to help get to the table. Closing costs are a fancy word for lender fees. And so what we can do is we can put this coverage available on your listing, which by the way, it's available on all listings. But if you'll go ahead and sign tonight, we can make this coverage available on your listing so that if a buyer comes to you and asks you to pay closing costs, we can go back to them and present Keller Mortgage. In essence, on your $200,000 home you're selling, that could save them $4,200. And by save them, I mean save you, because they're not going to ask you to cover it. So $5,200 and $4,200, Tabby, that's $9,400 that I've offered to potentially save you through being a solution-based agent. That other agent, she showed you how she negotiates. She dropped the price. So would you like to sign in blue or in black ink?
I preferred blue.
Gary said red on stage. He's so combative.
I was thinking that, but I didn't want to mess you up.
Gary wasn't even processing what I said. He just was so combative. He's like, red. I'm not going to answer your question. But anyway, essentially, listen, the whole point is to save money. You don't care what I make as long as you make the most money. Let's make a deal work where both sides can make what they need to make to get this thing closed and get to the closing table. And can I go into, I have to pay my broker, I have to pay my team, I have to pay my transaction coordinator. Yeah, I can go into that. But ultimately, in the end of the day, they care what they put in their pocket, right? And I've had people say, yeah, you can do all that, and will you still reduce your commission? So we've had to go into those commission reduction handlers, but they weren't telling me no. So that's a great opportunity to use Keller Mortgage as a tool. And again, you'll get the script for that as well. Your sphere and past clients with refinancing, this is a great opportunity to just make those database love calls. I went through Bold. Have any of y'all been through the old Bold, the 1.0? And there's that script that's like, hi, Steve. This is a business call. And I'm sorry, but if I called any of my friends and said that, they would hang up on me. They'd be like, what are you smoking? And so I never felt comfortable calling my database and saying, this is a business call. But I was comfortable when I found out about Keller Mortgage and that people could refinance their home just by knowing me and having my code or contacting the lender through me, that they could get this savings. And that's incredible. Like, that's great news that you want to call and share with people. And then while I have you on the phone, do you know anybody else looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Even if they tell you no, we're good, we got a low rate, we're set, whatever. Do you know anybody else with real estate needs that I can help? So it's a great segue into that. I'll tell you about my friend Lauren. I called Lauren and said, hey, Lauren, I was just in your neighborhood and, we bought that house for $150,000 and you were my very first real estate transaction 6 years ago. I was in your neighborhood and a home your size just went on the market for $225,000 and we have multiple offers. That's crazy. So that tells me home values in your neighborhood are like through the roof. They're over 50% increase. Hey, when you bought that house, you went FHA and only put 5% down. Are you still paying PMI? And she goes, yeah, we've been trying to get it removed. We even had an appraisal done. Our lender won't remove it. And I said, well, what do you think about refinancing? And then you could get that PMI removed because you own more than 20% of the home. And she said, yeah, I actually really like that. I said, well, you have more equity in the home. From my calculations, you have about $60,000. What do you think about cashing out on your equity? So she looked into it and I said, what would you do with $60,000? She said, well, I want to do a kitchen renovation. I said, okay, well, that takes you about what? It's a little kitchen, about $12,000, $15,000. you'd have 45 left over. Well, we want to build on a pergola. Okay, let's assume that's another $10,000. You've got 35 left over. What would you do with that? She said, I actually don't really know what I would do with that. I said, well, what would you think about holding on to it? And when I come across a great deal on an investment property, that would be the 20% that you need to put down for that investment property. So she loved that. And that's the angle that we ended up taking. Well, here's the really cool thing. On the refinance, she saved all those lender fees. And that was about $4,500. And then when she purchased that investment property with me, she saved $3,500 on lender fees. That's $8,000 of her $60,000. That's like 12% that she would have paid in lender fees of her hard-earned equity that she didn't have to pay. That's awesome. I mean, that takes 60,000 down to 48. That was the difference in her being an investor and her not being an investor. And I think that's a really incredible story to tell. And now when Lauren has, somebody at work who says, hey, does anybody know a realtor? Everybody knows a realtor. And one girl is a realtor when she gets off work, right? This gave Lauren a chance to be like, let me tell you how my realtor is helping me build my net worth. I'm going to have a rental property. I did a 15-year note. It pays for itself. And in 15 years, when my kids go to college, it's going to pay for their school. Because remember, she used her home equity to pay off her school loans. What a cool opportunity to set your kids up ahead that you're going to pay for their school because you made a decision 15 years ago. Instead of them paying at 35, still paying on their student loans, right? I saw a quote one time that says, you have the ability to change someone else's life. How dare you waste it? That's changing lives. So it's not ours to waste. And those calls can be really powerful calls. And then you've earned that client for life. So what about other lender relationships? Here's how the conversation went with me. I took our lender, this lender was giving us like his friends and family to help buy and sell. And what I did is I took him to lunch and I said, hey, it's not your birthday and I'm not bringing you to lunch to tell you you have cancer. I know it's weird when a realtor pays for your lunch and you have to think something's going on, but I promise it's nothing like that. So what I want to tell you is I want to say thank you so much for helping me grow my business. And I know we've helped you grow your business and I know it's very mutual. But I want to be the first to come to you and tell you that there is a product that is going to be considered a competitor. And I think somebody who is not competitive or it does not have that victor mentality would see this as a really bad thing. But I actually see it as a really good thing for both of us. So Keller Mortgage, they waive origination, underwriting, and processing fee, plus they give $1,000 credit at closing. They're a product that's available to Keller Williams agents, and I'm going to start offering it to my buyers. I'm also going to start offering it, posting about it on open houses, social media, all of that. Now, here's the thing, James. I don't see this as a major threat to you. I actually see this as an opportunity for us to go get more business with it. And as their fiduciary, I have to tell them if there's a deal where they can save money. I'm obligated to do anything that's in their best interest. So I will be presenting Keller Mortgage to every client. I also am required to present them 2 lender options. Yeah. And so for every client, I'm going to be sending them and you. In the past, I've always sent them someone else. I just want to let you know who the other company I'm sending them to. When would be a good time that we could get together to go over the closing disclosure and come up with what the actual savings is versus your company? Because James didn't charge an origination fee. So the difference between him and Keller Mortgage was $2,500. So we just came up with a UVP. James doesn't sell the loans. You can walk in at the first of every month and pay your mortgage if you would like and sit down in front. Well, not now because of shelter in place, but normally you could come sit in his office and write a check for your mortgage if you wanted. So James had a very different UVP than Keller Mortgage. And so that was a great way for us to keep that relationship intact, and it didn't feel icky, but it actually led to more opportunities for him.
Love that.
So what's new? They have a dial for adjusting your pre-approval letter. So let's say, hang on, let me scroll through my names. I've got the same 4 people. Let's say James gets pre-approved for $500,000, but James is like, my wife is only comfortable at $350,000. What we're going to do is we're going to change his pre-approval, and I can do that down to 350. You can't ever go up. I can't make him a pre-approval for 600, but I can always go down. So let's say, James, we go shopping for a home. We're looking around the 350 budget. He ends up falling in love with one that's 360. We negotiate it out. We end up getting it at 365. Well, his approval is only for 350. And so, or let's say 355. His approval is only for 350. Normally you'd have to say, well, let's wait till Monday till the lender opens up again and can give us a new pre-approval. In this case, you can actually go into your Keller Mortgage website, which you all have your own, and you can adjust the pre-approval amount to the 355 and hit PDF and send that along with the new offer. So you're not waiting on anybody else to do that, which I think is great. It puts the power in your hand. You also get Kelly notifications when somebody has started an application. If they haven't finished an application after a certain time period, you get notifications that they're pre-approved, that their loan has funded. It's a really great tool to just get those constant updates. And then also you can choose your own loan officer. That was released, I think, just under a year ago.
Who is your loan officer, Jordan?
I use Carl Amarine, and okay, I was about to say, I don't know his license. I don't know what states he's licensed in. But I love Carl. He's great. And we've been on this road together. It's so funny. He was the very first LO I got. And so he would call me, especially if I was like driving. I would teach this in Houston. I'd be on a long drive. He'd call and be like, how do we get agents to use this? How do we get this product out there? You know, people weren't knocking down our door, and we would brainstorm and all that. And so Carl goes way back. He's an original. He's an OG, like original gangster of Keller Mortgage. And he came to Mega Camp last year, and I thought in my head, I knew he was coming, and I thought we would have like this running hug. Yeah, no, he's such like an SC, and I'm a DI. And he was like, oh, hey, Jordan. And I was like, wow, that was anticlimactic. We've just had this 3-year relationship of like trying to build this. So anyway, it's been exciting coming to fruition, but he is often underwhelmed. So.
Love it. Thank you for that recommendation.
Yeah, Carl's great. And you need someone who, maybe your clients are mostly veterans and you want someone who is a veteran. Maybe you have Spanish speaking, something like that. If you go on to the Keller Mortgage Facebook page, the loan officers are all on that Facebook page, and you can ask questions and get answers. If something doesn't feel right or you get told something and you're not sure, you can go on that Facebook page and ask them. You can also ask who is licensed in Tennessee. And if you want somebody who also has kids, because you have kids and you feel like they would understand your clients better, you can certainly go there and look at their Facebook profiles and say, ooh, I feel like this person would be a really good match with us, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's the cool thing, is that they're making it far more personal, that you really get to pick the person that you want to work with. Mm-hmm. So a couple things. I don't want to leave you like I left that top 100 mastermind where I had no idea how to get a hold of anybody. So you can log into Kelly and say, show me my pre-approval link. This actually used to give you a link, but now that you can choose your own loan officer, it's actually going to take you to your portal. So using your KW user ID, you can either go through Connect, you can ask Kelly to take you there, or if you just go to Keller Mortgage, you can get there as well. Mm-hmm. Am I frozen, or can y'all? Am I good?
You were for a second. Now you're good.
Okay. It's going to take you to your personalized portal. You can see here mine. You can input the customer's contact information. Here's the thing. If you look at the bottom right, it says your pre-approval link. I will take that link and share it, like keep it in my notes. And so if I ever want to just share that link with like a co-op agent whose buyer wants to take advantage of the program, I'll just send them that link. I'm not going to send them through my whole portal and all that. Sometimes you need that quick way of getting in touch. So that pre-approval link is a great thing to save to your like notes of your phone or something like that. Here's a customer service number if you have an issue, 888-766-2678. Also, there is a contact us or SOS, save our ship button on your customer portal. If something is going really wrong, there's always a manager there to attend. They're open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time, 7 days a week. So you can get a loan officer 7 days a week. You can get a pre-approval on a Sunday. I remember early in my career, I had like somebody who wanted to go look at the sketchy house on a Sunday. And I was like, you know, before I leave my home with my family, I want to make sure these people are pre-approved. And I had a loan officer that was like, I'm sorry, but I have family time too, right? And I'm like, but I'm about to go to the ghetto to check out this house. Like, I want to make sure it's worth it. Yeah, I want you to have a social security number. And I just love that they will get them pre-approved on a Sunday at 2:00 before you leave your family and go show it. So yeah, that's it from troubleshooting and options. So do you guys have any questions? You can unmute yourself if you do.
I was gonna say.
I would like to have a recording of everything you said, possibly.
What was that?
I would like to have a recording of everything you said, possibly. All
Oh,
your
okay.
scripts, and it's fantastic.
Yep, it's Stephen, it's on our also on our private Facebook page, so it'll be there.
Yeah, I see it's recording
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I'll send scripts and everything. I can do that today and my PowerPoint.
Yeah, great, thank you. And there's scripts also on the Keller Mortgage page, right,
And
Jordan?
those are the ones I wrote.
I
Yeah.
was going to say you personalized a couple of them, however, on that
And
page.
there's videos.
Hello.
I've sat with them and recorded videos for content on the Keller Mortgage page, so that's there too.
Yeah.
With how we use the script. So yeah.
Yeah, you're like everywhere on that page.
I was
Okay.
just kind of the protege for utilizing it.
Yeah. Who else has a question? David Hines, did you have a question?
I did.
Okay.
So Jordan, I've sent a lot of self-employed people to Keller Mortgage, and they've not been able to work with them. Has that changed?
That would surprise me because my husband and I are both self-employed and we've done 4 transactions with them. So I think it depends, like longevity. But I will tell you, they prefer people to be in a box. You know, they really love a W-2 employee, yada, yada, yada. Self-employed, I think they require 2 years work history. So if you haven't tried them in a while, you may try them again because I know they're constantly trying to get where they can serve more people.
Great question, David. I had also heard that just this week.
Oh, really?
That they had only 1 year of their self-employment history, right? And so,
And one of the people had like K1 income,
Yeah.
so that was very hard to document.
Yeah, like I said with the other lenders, Keller Mortgage prefers everybody to fit in a box. And so it's a good opportunity to lead generate, but it may not fit with them.
love it. What else do we have here, guys? Here's your chance. What's keeping you from using it?
Hey, I have a question.
Oh, go Tracy.
We have a client who had a foreclosure back in 2008. Can Keller Mortgage work with somebody like that?
I think it's definitely worth giving them a shot and having them call and find out if they can. Typically, if you call like Carl, he'll ask you a few questions about it and tell you if they can or not. But I would think 12 years ago, you should be good.
Good. Thank you.
It's hard because I'm not actually a loan officer. So a lot of the questions I'm like, yeah, but it's great to connect with a loan officer and find out.
And that's what I love, Jordan, is that you're using it as a marketing tool, right? Like, and I also loved how you talked about being solution-based with your clients and having the fiduciary responsibility to make sure they're getting the best value. So it's important for us because we do have this product and it's affiliated with Keller Williams for us to be comfortable with it enough to talk about it. And as you mentioned, also talk to our favorite lender, you know, and just talk about what their uniqueness is as compared to this. One is not bad or good. It truly depends on the situation that people are in.
Yeah, we had a buyer come to an open house once, and honestly, it was my listing, but I was subbing in that day. Somebody had a sick kid or something like that, and so I just jumped in on this open house real quick. And quite frankly, I was not in the right mindset of like, I want to go get business. It was like, I just got to do this because we advertised we were having an open house. And a guy came in and said, hey, you know, whatever, and toured the home. He said, I have a realtor. I said, okay, no problem. Have fun. Tour the home. Let me know what you think. So he saw our signs and he said, what is this special financing about? So I told him, and he said, is that available to all Keller Williams agents? And I thought that was a really odd question. And I said, yeah, it's available to all Keller Williams agents. He said, all right, well, I just sold my home and I'm in the market to buy a home. I'm renting for 3 months. But my agent is a Keller Williams agent and never presented this to me. So he left. I said, I'm so sorry if there's anything I can do, let me know how I can help. Maybe they just don't know about it or something like that. Anyway, I called him Monday to get feedback. Hey, what did you think of the home? Our seller's asking for some feedback. And he said, I'm not interested in that home, but I can tell you, I just talked to my agent and I let them know that I wouldn't be working with them anymore. And I would like to hire you for the job of helping me find a home. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
They were a Keller Williams agent. Ouch. Right.
It was another Keller Williams agent that he, in another office that he let go because he felt like they had the opportunity to tell him about this and they didn't. So he's like, what else are they not telling me? Are they giving me the best inspector? Are they giving me, I don't know. So.
Yeah. Or are they just giving me their favorite, right?
Yeah,
and
so
that
he
leads
bought a home with us and he's selling a home with us in the fall and buying another because he's getting remarried. So, I mean, that's 3 transactions over. We've only had Keller Mortgage for 3 years.
Yeah, I love that. And that goes to a question in the question box. Do you feel like you need to tell them that we don't get a kickback fee?
Yeah, I do. I tell them I don't get anything for you guys using this, but it is a really great product. And I had some people very early on being like, fair lending, you can't advertise this. And I'm like, if you liked a brand of ketchup, you could say the ketchup was really great. If you don't get paid by that ketchup company, there's no problem with you saying this ketchup is great. So from an affiliation standpoint, there is nothing wrong with you advertising for Keller Mortgage. You don't have to put any disclosures or anything unless you do like a print advertisement, and then I would get with them on what disclosures you need. But basically, like if you run a magazine article or something like that, but basically all you're doing is recommending a product to them. We recommend lenders all the time.
Right. And we have lenders co-sponsoring a lot of our marketing products, right, that go out. Yep. So there's already that kind of affiliation.
Somebody asked a question about our listing presentation. Let me grab that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Alan Worthy, I know you're working on a question next.
This is our listing presentation. It's our pre-listing packet that goes out. It's a magazine style, but essentially, this is where Keller Mortgage is firmly planted this flyer. And this flyer talks about the savings available, how it is available. It says negotiate without compromise. And so you can offer this, and it says there's a little handy toolkit at the bottom here that says, here's how much you can save on that type of loan or that size of loan. So that's in print for you. It's like a cheat sheet. You can say, you know, on a $250,000 home, on average, people are saving $5,000. So it's there for you. And it's, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. I think if somebody stands up and says, yeah, I use this product, like you want to see that they actually use it. And that is in our pre-listing packet that goes out.
Mm-hmm. Great. I love that.
So we talk about it at every listing presentation.
I love the signs and the opportunity to continue talking about the savings for the clients, especially like you mentioned in this time, right? Making sure everybody's comfortable that we're doing our best to help them make the best equity decision for themselves. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How long has Keller Mortgage been available? 3 years? Hadn't it been 3 years?
Yeah, but not in every state. Yeah. So it's probably been in your state for at least, I mean, at a minimum 18 months.
Yeah, it's at least a year. Yeah. Great. Any other questions? David, do you have another one? Zimmerman?
I've got one, and it's not much as a question, but was such an eye-opener. How you positioned, what would $5,000 do for you and your family? You know, I mean, it's just, wow. And how you can work that, you know, in the, you know, asking for a reduced commission. Well, you know, solving that by saying, look, I can save you on both ends and save you more money than reducing my commission. How does that work for you? Yep. You know, I love your scripts and how you just own it. And that's going to be a powerful tool. We like to work with listings. So having our lister know that, hey, you know, if they use Keller Mortgage, they're not going to be asking you for closing costs because Keller Williams is paying for it, and they're getting $1,000 back.
It's also a way I secure referrals if they're, let's say they're moving to Nashville, right? And they're like, well, it doesn't matter because I'm not going to be able to work with you on the buy side. Well, that's great because it's a national lender and I can hook you up with a great agent in Nashville that can help you save that money. So now I can pick up a referral fee. I can hook them up with a great agent that I know is going to close them, and I can still get them the deal with Keller Mortgage. And a lot of times they're like, well, I've already been talking to an agent on Zillow. Well, is that agent showing you how they can save you $5,000? Yeah. Now I pick up a referral fee that I didn't have before, right? So it's just this, it's when it's in the front of your mind like that, you're constantly using it.
Yep. Melissa, I see your hand.
Yeah, so I just wanted to do a shout out for Keller Mortgage. We actually had one that went under contract on the 12th of this month, and it closing today.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's pretty awesome with
Yeah.
everything going on right now. So if you have not tried them, you definitely should.
Wow. That's it. Who was your loan officer?
It was also Carl.
Okay. Also Carl. Carl keeps
Yep,
coming up.
Carl. Yep, Carl is great.
Yeah. Great. Thank you for that, Melissa. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Anybody else? Any other questions while we have Jordan here? We've got fabulous talent right in front of us. Jordan, you talk a little bit, you got just like 3 minutes, about a piece of advice for people who are potentially starting their journey towards growing their team or their business. Do you have one best tip for those folks who may be moving from individual agent over to the big world of growing their team?
Follow career visioning.
Okay.
And have 3 candidates for a position.
Okay.
If you're the only guy in the bar, you're suddenly the best looking guy in the bar.
Write that one down, Alan Worthy.
The candidate you're interviewing is the perfect fit because it's the only candidate you're interviewing, right? And when you have 3 in the running, 3 good candidates that meet your criteria, it keeps you from having to make a bad hire. Our team had a horrible first quarter because I tore my ACL, and this is how long it affects you. I tore my ACL and had to have emergency surgery back in the end of June last year. And I hired a listing agent after 1 interview because they told me you're not going to walk for 3 months. Right. And I was the only listing agent. So I hired a listing agent that was experienced, but just had the wrong mindset. And that didn't show up in August, September, October. That showed up in a horrible January. It took 6 months for that to show up, of just a lot of things like cutting corners and things like that. And we're paying for it this year. We went into the year with a 6 deficit in listings taken of what we needed to hit our goal. Already we were in a deficit of 6. So anyway, all that to say, career visioning, follow career visioning every single step. It is painful. If you're a high D, put somebody else in charge of it. Like I had to put my director of operations on. Your job is to make sure I do all the steps of career visioning. Make her your boss. But basically, once you get that right hire, you can go faster, further, harder, bigger. We have 5 types of lead generation sources that we nail it at because there's a highly accountable leader on my team that's responsible for each of the 5 and not me. So much happens on my team outside of me, and then I just get to show up for the event, right? And you're used to being in a position where if you want something done, you have to plan it all. Making a great hire, it happens outside of you. And then your business doesn't just double, it should quadruple when you add that person and they're talented.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for that final word. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
we want to honor everybody's time. Jordan, I know we have your email and your phone number on all of our marketing materials. So
awesome.
I assume it's good for anybody to reach out to you should they have additional questions or
feel free to text or Facebook. I'm Jordan Elizabeth Davis on Facebook because apparently there's a lot of Jordan Davises. And so if you want to find me on Facebook and friend request me, I'm sharing stuff there.
Great.
And then if you guys are interested, I also, when we're allowed to travel again, I also teach business planning. So that would be something I'd be happy to help with in October.
Yes, we're still intending on getting you here for that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. We appreciate all your time today.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, that was good.
Yeah, I love her. She's one that we were looking last year to do Keller Mortgage and also to do business planning.